And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Hey, today we're going to be going to the old city of Tokyo called Yedo. This is from Pandasaurus Games. It's for 2 to 5 players, 14 up and up ages. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to play, and you're going to be going off trying to show off your clan to the Shogun, the new Shogun, to show them why you're important in that land and why you guys should be the cream of the crop. You're going to be doing things like warfare missions and kidnapping missions and espionage missions. It's a worker placement type game that's pretty deep. I'd say that it feels similar to Lords of Waterdeep, but a lot more deeper, a lot more intricacies of the game. So let's take a look and see all the different things that you do in this game, how it's played, all the phases, and I'll show you what I really think about it. In Yedo, you're trying to have the most points accompanied over the whole game, which lasts up to 11 rounds. Also, you're doing that by completing different missions of different difficulty from easiest to hardest. So let's take a look at some of the phases and some of the cards in the game so we can explain how it's played. At the beginning of the game, everyone gets to pick a color, which is a named clan. So this is Nabashima clan, and it's the green team. They get to take 2 of their disciples, place them on their board. This is a very beautiful, thick player aid, by the way. And here you can keep different things that you'll accompany over the game. And it shows a place that you'll keep some of your cards, your weapons, your action cards, your bonus cards, your uncompleted missions on this side, your completed missions on that side. There's also 4 what's called annexes, which are sort of personal buildings that you can go to during the game. We'll talk more about those in detail later. You do start with some money, and you start with one of a few different cards that you can draw in a drafting. In this case, I chose to get a weapon and $3. I get that at the beginning of the game. You can draft and pick which one you want, and then once it's taken, this flips over and you can use this to avoid being arrested later in the game. We'll talk about that later as well. We're going to walk through the different phases. We've already prepared the board for the first round, so we're just going to jump into the bidding phase. Here you see our player order from 1 to 3, where this is set up for a 3-player game. And over here is a bidding order as well. It kind of mirrors that. At the beginning of the bidding round, before anybody bids, anybody that wants to jump out of bidding and knows they don't want to bid, they can jump out and take 3 money. Otherwise, they're going to bid on different things. Let's talk about how this works and what the cards are. Here we see we see 3 white circles, and each of those have a number 3 in them. In a 3 or player like game or less, when someone bids, they don't bid on a specific spot, they bid on a color. So basically they're bidding on one of these 3 places to put their pawn here. So green will go first, and let's say he wants to bid on one of these. He'll say, I'm going to bid on white, and they have to bid the minimum, which is 3. Then blue gets to go, and they get to say whether they want to up that bid for any one of those white spots, and he passes. And say red says 4. Red says 4 on this. Now at the end of the bid, the first person gets 1 more shout, so they always get the last bid. And let's say green says, no, I really want it, I'm going to go 5. Boom, he bids there and goes 5, and then it goes with the blue player and it goes through the same thing, where it goes first, second, and then the first person always gets the last bid. It's an interesting way to do a bidding mechanic. Now what are these? These all say 3 and 1, 3 and 1, 3 and 1. That basically means you get to take the top 3 cards, take one of them, and put the other ones face down at the bottom of the pile. Let's take a look at what these cards are. These orange cards are action cards. They allow you to do some cool things during the game, sometimes at any time, sometimes during different phases. For example, this is a trader. You can play at any time, choose an opponent, and he must give you one of his action cards. That's one of these, of his choice. Walls have ears. You can play this card when an opponent plays an action card, and his card is discarded without an effect. Sort of like, no, you're not doing that. Something like Scrap Dealer. Look through the weapon discard pile and gain 1 weapon of your choice, free of charge. And favored by the Emperor at any phase, discard this card to gain the top of one of the following decks: mission cards, bonus cards, action cards, weapon cards. So that's the type of things that action cards do. The purple cards are bonus cards, and they're like end game secret goals. So in this case, if you have the most money, money's called mun in this game, you get 5 points. If you're tied, you would only get 2. If you have the most completed missions, 5 if you're first, 2 if you're tied. If you have completed all your missions, And if you've completed the most kidnapping missions, we'll get to different types of missions later. Essentially, it's a type of mission, and if you've done that, you get the 4. If you're tied with somebody else, you'll get 2 points. Again, they're just secret goals that you can take and keep to the end of the game. You can only hold 2 of them. And here you can see different weapons that are out there, like smoke bombs, Chinese stars, poison, a katana blade, a big stick. There's all sorts of different weapons in the game. The second spot you can bid for are the black spots. They're $5. If you get one of these, you get one of these geisha icons and 2 points. These geishas help you complete missions. Here you also get one of these 4 annex buildings, and they plus 2 points, and you get to put them there. We'll talk more in detail about what those buildings do in a later phase. But keep in mind, you're building on one of these black ones. If you had more than 3 players, every person would be able to bid on a specific spot. But since we're 3 or less, you're bidding on a color, and then once you win the bid, you're going to the color you want. The red spots over here allow you to, if you won this one, you would get to take one of these extra disciples and put it on your board, and you'll get to use him. And if you go here, you would get to take any top 3 mission cards of any color, look at them, pick the one you want, put the other ones face down at the bottom of the pile. This is probably a good time to talk about the mission cards. Remember, green's the easiest, all the way to black, which is the hardest. So let's look at what these are. This is an assassination type. There's different types of missions. You'll get different bonuses with bonus cards if you do different types of ones. It tells you the title of the mission. It gives you some really good flavor text, which thematically tells you what's going on with the quest. And it tells you what you need, standard. What this means is I need to have 1 disciple in the weapons marketplace, and I need to have poison as a weapon. If I do have that, I will be able to get 1 point, 1 mission card, and $3, and then I get to turn a watch patrol. We'll talk about it later. Bonus, if I also have a guy in the tavern, I'll get $5. So you have some standard and some bonuses there. We'll talk about how to activate these later. So here's a yellow one. It's an espionage mission. You need to have 1 person in the marketplace and 1 person in the harbor. You have to give $2. Most of the time, you get to keep things when you're in missions. For example, this poison, you get to keep for the rest of the game. Only some circumstances they'll show an arrow where you have to like give money or give blessing tokens, but most of the time you have to keep your money, so it's sort of an engine building. You'd get 1 point and $11. If you also had a Chinese star and a geisha, you'd get to pick up an action card that we showed earlier and $5. And a very hard mission, let's say a black mission, kidnapping mission. You need to have a person in the temple, in the castle, in the harbor, have a geisha, have this annex, and a blessing, and these 3 weapons, and you'd get 8 points and $10, and if you had the rope on top of it, you get $5. So this is a very difficult mission to accomplish, to have all those things, just to show you how they go from easy to hard. After the bidding phase, we go to the event phase, and you'll notice the weapons here cost 6 and 6 for the first 2, and then 8, 8, 8 for the last 3. Interesting mechanic when you, in the event phase, is the lowest 3 weapons come out, these ones come down to the 2 cheapest, and then 3 new weapons come out. And it's interesting how that sort of works, that you always know that these 2 weapons are going to be alive the next round, assuming nobody buys them, and they'll be the cheapest. Also, an event card is drawn. Event cards do things like, hey, Chastity Week, Red Light District is inaccessible this round, so nobody could go there. Or Overstock, during this round, the cost for weapons on the market is reduced by 2. Hooray! Honor is mine. Any mission that a player completes during this round yields 2 additional points. This applies to all missions. Awesome. Political intrigue. Play this the rest of the round in reversed player order. Sometimes things are really good, sometimes things are really bad with the mission card. This is the assigning phases next, and one at a time in player order, they will be placing their disciples in different open spots that are around the board, and they will be activated later in an action phase. This is just assigning. Next is the watch patrol phase. We see here a blue and red arrows and blue and red. At the beginning of the game, it's randomly assigned which color, blue or red. Red moves this way, blue moves the other way. It starts here, and in this phase, this watchman will move 1 here. Since he's red, he'll go here. If any disciple is here, they will get arrested and placed back. Now, if you have only your 2 disciples, they go back to your own board. If you have more than 2, the extra one goes back into the area that you bid for extra disciples at the beginning of the game. Now, just remember, you do start with a sort of get-out-of-jail-free card, a blackmail card that everyone gets 1 of these to start the game with that kind of saves you. There's also action cards that can change whether this guy moves differently, whether he does different things, whether you don't get arrested. So there are some other action cards that will stop you from getting arrested, but you have to pay attention as to where he's going to be that turn. Then comes the trade phase. If there's 2 people in this marketplace, they could trade weapons. If there's at least 2 people in this tavern, they can trade lots of other things like cards, weapons, geishas, money. These guys can do pretty much anything. They cannot talk about what's on the card specifically though. It's like, hey, this card's no good for me. Do you have one that's not good for you? Okay, let's trade. You can't say specifically, but there is some trading done if you're in these 2 spots or these 2 spots at this phase. Okay, we're in the action phase where most of the action happens. Get it? So in player order, one at a time, that person is able to activate one of his disciples. So let's go with green first because he's first. He'd be able to activate one of these disciples. Now keep in mind, remember that activating, you can either take the action or you can complete a mission. Also notice that for the 3-player games, certain spots are blocked off to keep it harder to go there, and it changes depending on how many people are in the game. So in this case, normally he would be able to buy one of these weapons for the price. But in this case, remember that he had a mission card here, and it says that he has to be in the marketplace, and he would have to have poison. If I had both of those, I could activate this guy, put him back in my player aid, my clan board, and I would get 1 point a mission card and $3. So that he would be activated. You can complete that mission, or if I did not have this mission, I could activate this card to buy one of these. I could also sell either a bonus card or an action card for $2. In the Temple District, I can take one of these blessing tokens, which is used for missions, or I can use what's called foresight. Whenever you see this arrow, it means I can take the top 3 mission cards of any color, look at them, put them in any order, and I put them back on top. I don't take any. Same for the event cards. I can see what's coming and plan for it. Here's the Castle District. I could get 1 point here. These 2 spots could get me a mission card. Or here and here I can set player order. There's a 1 and a 2 here. This is an interesting way to set player order. Let's talk more about it. Notice blue is on the 1 space and green is on the 2 place. When either one of these, whoever does it first, activates any one of these, turn order gets changed. The person who's in the 1 spot, no matter who activated it, gets first choice as to where they want in turn order, and green, who would be second, would get second choices to where they want in turn order. And then the other people would just fall in line below wherever they would. So in this case, they come out here. Even if green activated, blue was on the number 1, so he gets to pick. Blue's like, hey, I want to be first. Green's on the second number over there in the castle, so he'd say, hey, I'd go 2, and I'd go 3. Now, whoever activated that spot, the color after them gets to go next. So let's say blue was the one that activated it. Green would then go. If green was activated, red would be the next person to go. So not only does it change player order for the rest of the until someone does that again, but it changes it for that round too. In the Gates District, you could get foresight for the action cards. Take 3 and put them in any order, put them on top, don't take any. You could pay $7 and get a new disciple, so you'd have a 3rd or a 4th one. And you can change points into dollars, 1 for 3 or 2 for 5. In the Tavern District, you can do foresight on weapons. Again, take 3, look at them, put them in any order, don't take them. And you'd get to pay $11 to get one of those annexes, which we'll talk about in a little bit. In the Harbor, you could get foresight for the bonus cards. Take 3, put them in any order, look at them, don't take any, put them on top the way you want. You could change dollars for points, 4 for 1, 9 for 3, or you could steal money from the church, and it's replaced here every round. If there's nothing there, $3 goes there. If there's already money, $1 goes at the end of each round. And that's what happens in the beautiful Harbor District. In the Red Light District, you can pay $4 for an action card, or $8 or 2 points to get a geisha. Here, those are the annexes we talked about, and during the bidding phase, you can get some of those. You can buy them for $11 in some of the spots. When you get these are buildings that you can now place your disciple on when you get one. So let's say you got this one. Instead of going on one of the spots on the board, you can now go here on one of your spots and activate it. When activated, you can do 1 foresight of your choice. Look at the top 3 cards and then put them back in the order you want. Also, when completing a mission, a disciple here counts as 1 blessing token, so that's pretty cool. The dojo, you could discard, when activated, you can discard 1 weapon, draw 1 new weapon from the weapon pile, and you get 1 money at the beginning of each round. This one, when activated, you discard 1 action card, draw 1 new action card, so it's kind of like getting a new one if it's not good for you. And permanently, the cost for each weapon at the market is reduced by 3 for the rest of the game. These 2 have permanent counters, and these ones sort of have activation ones. And the last one here is when activated, discard 1 unaccomplished mission card and draw 1 new one. And then when completing a mission, disciple here counts as 1 geisha. So those are the different things that your annex can do. Now I just showed you 1 round, And you do that 11 times, and then you see who has the most points, look at your secret bonus cards, see who's done those, add them up, and whoever the most points wins. You can end it before the 11th round. There's one mission here, it's a black one called Kill the Shogun. It's incredibly difficult to do, but if you're able to pull it off, not only is it 14 points, but it ends the game immediately. Whoever has the most points when the game ends either one of those ways, after looking at your bonus points and all that, is the winner of Yedo. All right, well there is Yedo. Now, this is a longer game. It is very deep. There's a lot of stuff there. It's a very well designed game. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things to think about. There's a lot of different paths to victory, and I like that about that. It's very challenging. I like having the secret goal cards and the action cards, and that little guy that goes around, and the watch guy that goes around and arrests everybody. I can't tell you how many times we've been playing this game, and it's like, hey, I'm going there to do a mission, and then, oh gosh, I'm so stupid. The guy's gonna go there and arrest me. Like, there's a lot to keep track of here, which is good. It's really sort of a pretty deep, brain burnery-ish worker placement game. I love the fact that those mission cards go from easy to hard. In the beginning of the game, it sort of feels like an engine building game at the same time, because at the beginning of the game, you're doing those green missions, you just kind of have to be somewhere, you get some money. From that money, you're buying weapons, and from those weapons, you're doing harder missions. Those harder missions give you more money and more cards, and you're slowly building this engine to go through the red mission, go through the green, to the yellow, to the red, to the black missions. So it does feel like an interesting sort of engine building worker placement game. There's a lot of different things you can do. Man, each little district has like 2 or 3 or 4 different things that you can do. I really like the way they did the bidding mechanic, how it's a little different than you would normally see it, how that first person gets the last bid and that's it. I love that about it. I also like for the 3-player and less how when you did bid, they scaled it so that you're only bidding on certain areas instead of each different spot. I like the way they did the first turn marker, and how when you become the first turn person, how it's activated and swapped, and people get to choose where they go, and it slides down. That was sort of an interesting way to look at it. And then also the weapons, the way the weapons come out and then get redistributed. So between the bidding, the weapons, and the first turn marker, I loved how they kind of took like a unique look at those 3 different mechanics. It made it fresh. It didn't feel like just another worker placement game. And no, it didn't really feel anything like Lords of Waterdeep, although, you'll hear me and other people compare it to, because, it is somewhat similar, but they're really 2 completely different games. If you like Lords of Waterdeep, you got to think about what you like about it. That's a 60-minute game. This game is 2 to 3 times, I'd say, longer than that, depending on how many players you play with. So if you're up for longer games that take 2 to 3 hours, and you don't mind spending that amount of time, and you really want to get deep and have an epic game, you definitely want to check out Yedo, where great production quality. The board looks awesome. The components are awesome. So if longer games that are in the same vein of Lords of Waterdeep, but with a better theme, with a lot more going on, definitely going to want to check out. If you're not really one for longer games, but you loved Lord of Waterdeep, give this one a try and see if the length of it bothers you. For me, it's a little longer than I like in a game like this. It kind of felt long to me, but everyone else I played it with loved it. So I might be the minority there. I think I've shown you enough for you to make your own decision whether or not this is one that you should have in your collection.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.